Very good
So,
afternoon, sir.
very good afternoon. We start from where we had left off in the last class, and today we will be discussing elasticity of demand. Okay?
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah. If you have any questions, you
Sir,
can
I have a
definitely ask.
doubt.
Go ahead.
Sir, sir, last day you told us about the individual demand schedule commodity and its graph.
Mm-hmm.
So, so can you please switch to that slide? I have a doubt in it.
Okay. Individual demand. This is the individual's demand schedule.
Yes, sir. After that, after this.
Demand schedule is the table. Okay. And
Yes,
this
sir.
is the graph. Yes.
Sir, in the last third or fourth line, it is written that the graph will be shift to the right if the
Mm-hmm.
income increases and shift to the left in the so I don't get this point. Please explain.
Okay, very good. This is a question which often comes in the examination, and this is related with a very simple concept. If you have recalled, we talked about the demand curve, and all other factors were constant, right? Do you recall those factors?
Yes, sir.
What were these factors which were held constant?
So these
Please
were the
name some
stored
of them.
variables, means
Yes.
the substitute goods and all.
Very good. Substitute goods, income, tastes and preferences. Okay. Now, supposing one of those changes, for example, the income level changes, then what happens? So that is what is given here. If you read the line, it reads, if there is an increase in consumers' income, okay. Now, normally it is constant. If it is constant, we will get the line which is right in the middle. But if it increases, the entire line is going to shift from here to here. Okay, it will shift to the right. And in case the consumer income decreases, it will shift to the left, as is shown by this arrow. Is this arrow visible to you?
Yes, sir.
So now you understand the meaning of this. It is when the consumer's income, this is the consumer's income, okay?
Yes, sir. Sir, so the means if it is not about income, if it is about taste or preference, the graph will be shift just like the income curve.
Yes, it
Means
will
the
shift,
right.
shift in a similar way to the right or to the left, depending on where the taste and preferences are shifting, okay?
Okay, sir.
Now,
Thank you.
there will be a difference, of course, in the sense that in substitute goods, they will shift away from this to another product. Here, income, in case of income, it will shift for the same product. That is going to be one major difference. You understand that? Because there, the consumers will be shifting from one product to another. When we say taste and preference, that taste and preference has changed. Now, there was a time when jeans are in vogue and nobody wants to wear jeans, then they will shift to another kind of dress. Suppose, I'm not saying that they have shifted, but suppose, then what happens? All the product has changed. So here there will be a change, no change in product, but there will be a change in product. Okay. Any other questions?
No, sir. Thank you.
Fine, fine. So we move on to today's topic, and that is important topic as well. We are going to deal with elasticity of demand. Now, when we talk of elasticity of demand, we have to first start with the definition. And what is the definition of elasticity of demand? Rather not, yeah, okay. And elasticity of demand is this clear? Is the definition clear? Elasticity of demand is equal to percentage change in demand for product A divided by percentage change in price of product A. Is this clear or is there any doubt? That is when there is a change in the demand for the product A, relatively, what is the change in the price of the product A? For example, if the price of, say, apples and changes, okay, rather the demand for apple changes from, say, 5 apples to 10 apples, then relatively, what is the change in price? The price existing was, it could be 4 rupees to 40 rupees, it could be 50 rupees to 200 rupees, whatever, there will be different figures. So depending on those figures, the elasticity of that product will be different. So this is an actual measure, okay? And it will keep changing with different products, different items. For example, certain items will have more elasticity, certain items will have less elasticity. There will be a difference. Now, how do we measure it? Let us try to, we will be deriving it for you. You need not remember the deriving part, but you have to remember what we are going to finally derive this at, okay? So when we say percentage change in demand, what is the meaning of that mathematically? Percentage change in demand. When we talk about a percentage change of anything, what do we mean? 100 multiplied with change in demand, rather not change in demand, by demand by small t by Okay. And this whole thing will be divided by, again, 100 into the price of the product divided by change in price of the product. Now, since both is product A, they will cancel out each other, and we are left with this equation. Is this equation clear? So the same thing we will.
So this equation I didn't understand actually.
Okay. Now, supposing I want to find the percentage of something, say 2 out of 8. I want to find the percentage of 2 out of 8. What do I do?
So 2 upon 8 into 100.
2 upon 8 into 100.
Yes.
So if I want to find the percentage change in demand for a product, then I write the demand by change in demand
Yes.
into 100. In fact, it will be the other way around.
Thank you.
Okay. So that is the way it goes about. We simply change in demand divided by the demand. Okay. Change in demand will make it small d. That is how they write the symbol. It doesn't make any difference actually, because whatever the symbol you decide remains the symbol. It has to be consistent. That's all. But since most books use it, we will also be using similarly. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Now, in the next line, what do we do? The same thing. What was above is equal to this, and this will be equal to, we will cancel this 100 and 100. They will cancel out each other because they are division. We will have this portion will remain as it is, and we copy it here. Now this is division sign. Instead of the division sign, if I put a multiply sign, what will happen to this portion? The 100 has already been cancelled. It is change in P by P. That will change from that to P by delta P. So now this is your elasticity of demand. So you have to remember this first definition and this change in demand by demand into price by change in price. Okay. So when we are talking about elasticity, basically we are looking at two things. When it comes to the graph. Any questions, any doubts here? This has to be remembered by you. Okay. Now, when we are saying this, what are we actually meaning? Okay, so now we'll again start with the paint. Yes, you want to say something? Is this visible to you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine, fine. So now we talk about different types of elasticity. Okay, so we will of course start with that was your y-axis and this is your x-axis. Okay, now we draw a okay. Now, if this demand curve okay, now this demand curve, it is if this demand curve is at an angle of 45 degrees, then we say that the elasticity of demand is equal to 1. This will be true all the time. Of course, what do we have on our axes? price on the y-axis. And of course, we will have on the x-axis quantity demanded. Okay. So this is known as, anybody can tell me what is the name of this kind of situation in elasticity? Unitary elasticity. That is, if there is one unit change, the same 1 unit will change here also. So if you increase the price by 1 rupee, the quantity will also increase by 1 rupee. You increase by 10 rupees, quantity will increase by 10 rupees. This is the situation, and there are situations. This is one type of elasticity. Now let us look at another 2 types of elasticity, which will of course be, so this is your y-axis and this is your x-axis. Now this time we will have the demand curve. Say we can have it, there will be 2 which will be coming, one which will be less than angle of 45 degrees. Okay, and if we have another one which we can have it another situation,
Sir, you are not audible.
I am not audible. Okay, just a minute. If I'm not audible, then I have to check.
So you are audible.
Yeah, I am audible. My microphone is okay. Anyway, are you able to see the paint?
Yes, sir.
The graphs that I'm making. That's great. Now, the other thing is that if this is greater than 45 degrees, that is another situation where this will be greater than 45 degrees. Okay. I would better make it from here if I have to make it greater so that it cuts the y-axis also. So these are 2 other situations. One less than 45, other greater than 45, the angle. So in these cases, what will happen? To understand what will happen, let us draw some more lines. Then we will be able to understand it. And these lines can start from the price. Say, this is the price. Okay. Now, I'll just change the color just so that we can differentiate. Okay. And again, we draw the line from this to this. So this is one, then we have another one. Say from that same point, we have taken a line here also. And we'll drop the line here as well. Okay. Now we draw one more line. There will be a change in price. Change in price means there will be a different price level. The different price level will come here. Okay. And we have from the same level, we'll have it here also. I should have changed this color. I did not. But here I will change. Now, what do we have in these two situations? Now this curve which I'm trying to make, what does it represent?
Change in price.
Very good. Change in price. And there is going to be another thing. And that will be this. What is this going to be?
Change in quantity demanded.
Change in quantity demanded. So when we look at the change in quantity demanded, what do we see? Do we notice something?
Yes, sir. So when price is less than quantity is for in second case, quantity is more. Quantity demanded is more.
Quantity demanded is more or less in the second case?
Yes.
The change in quantity demanded, let us not say quantity demanded, the change in quantity, because this is a change in quantity demanded due to the change in price. We made the same change in prices in both cases, but the change in demand for this case was higher and change in demand quantity demanded in this case was lower, very little. This is very high change. Change in price we made same. This difference is same, right? These two red curves were same, but the brown curves, we notice that in case it is less than 45 degrees, the change is more. So what do we say? What do we call it? Elasticity is greater than 1, or this is known as shit.
Highly
What is
elastic.
it known as? Highly elastic. We call it relatively elastic. Okay. And in this case, what are we going to call? E is, tell me, obviously less than 1. And what do we call this graph?
Relatively inelastic.
Excellent. Relatively inelastic. Okay. So we have seen 3 types of elasticity, where we have elasticity equal to 1, greater than 1, and less than 1. Now we will look at another kind of elasticity, which are perfect. Perfect elasticity are of 2 types. Yeah, go ahead, ask.
Extremely sorry for interrupting you.
No
I just
problem.
want to seek
You
a
must.
clarification. Relatively elastic and relatively inelastic. So in comparison to the unitary elastic one, is it in comparison to the, I mean, like relatively elastic. When we are saying
Mhm.
relatively elastic and relatively inelastic, so
Mm.
related to what? Unitary elastic.
No, it is not relative to the unitary elastics.
Okay, then what is the
Relatively
parameter?
to exactly. This product is relatively elastic to another product. For example, sugar is relatively more elastic than salt. So when we say relatively elastic or inelastic, we are actually comparing one product. That was a very good question. You must understand the concept, which means if I increase the price of sugar, people will change their quantity demanded more, relatively more. But if I change the price of salt, people will not change the quantity demanded. You are going to, it's a fact. When we will need 1 kg of salt only per month, whether the price is 20 rupees or 200 rupees. We are not going to buy less, nor are we going to buy more. But for sugar, it is true. If the price is 10 rupees, we will buy more. If it is 200 rupees, we will buy less. So that is a product. When we are saying relatively inelastic or relatively elastic, we are talking about the product category. Unitary elasticity is a product category which falls into this category. Is it clear now?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Yes, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So then, what is the ideal value of elasticity?
What is the
Ideal value of elasticity.
ideal value of elasticity?
Yes, sir. So in first case, we see unitary elasticity, and second, elasticity is greater than one, and in third, where elasticity is less than one. Then, is there any ideal value of elasticity?
No, there is no ideal value of elasticity. You see, when we are talking about elasticity, we are talking about the product behavior of different products, and we are trying to categorize them. So this will help us to study taxation. For example, as a policymaker, I want to load a tax. Where will I load? If I load a tax on a product where elasticity is high, will I get any return? I will get no return because people will buy less because of increase in price, and I will get the same amount of tax. But a product which is inelastic, there if I load a tax, I will get higher amount of return. Why? Because people are going to buy that, whether I increase the tax or not. So now you know why certain products taxes are raised every year, and in certain products taxes are not touched. So when we are talking about elasticity, we are trying to categorize products. So at the end of the day, I just told you sugar and salt, but there are other products also. Which product has got more elasticity, less elasticity, and accordingly we will understand consumer behavior, and accordingly we will increase the price or not increase the price and take managerial decisions when we understand elasticity. Is that clear?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Right. Now we look at two more types. Total, there are 5 types of elasticity which you will have to reproduce if I ask you in the exam. 3 I've already shown you. 2 more I'm going to show you. I'm not labeling the X and the Y axis because they are same and you know what they are. Price on the, I've labeled it in the first case, price on the Y axis, and on the X axis we have the quantity demanded. So these are 2 more cases. Now, in these 2 cases, again, we will have the law of, rather, this is the demand line D, and this is another demand line. Of course, these are, one is perpendicular. In the first case, it is perpendicular on the y-axis. This is perpendicular on the x-axis. Okay, or this is parallel to the x-axis, and this is parallel to the y-axis. Okay. Now, first of all, what will be E? Let us see who can help me with this. What will be E in this case?
In first case, E is equal
Yes.
to 0. In first case, E is equal to 0. I think.
E is equal to 0.
And second case, E is equal to infinite.
Okay. So if we say E is equal to 0, we are wrong. It has to be E is equal to infinity.
Sorry, sir, I was mistaken.
Yeah, it's not a problem. Whenever you want to understand, just think of changing P. There is a P on this line, and if you change the P to another point, P1, either niche ya upar, then that line where it will cut, there you will have to come to D. So it will cut at infinity because it is going to be parallel. You understand?
Yes, sir.
So when
Yes,
if you do that, you will always be clear and you will know what it is going to be there. Okay. And of course, what do we call this graph? What do we call this graph?
Perfectly elastic.
Very good. Perfectly elastic. This is perfectly elastic. One change and there you have changed infinitely. And now we come to the other one. And what do we call this? First of all, we'll write it. What E is equal to? E is equal to, as you have already said, 0. And then we will also write what this stands
Perfectly
for.
elastic.
Yes, perfect inelastic. So I expect you to reproduce these graphs. If I ask you what are the 5 types of elasticity, then you will reproduce this graph, and I will expect you to write all this that I've made, plus change P1, P2 for every graph. Right? Draw a line P1, P2, and show it what is the behavior on the x-axis. Okay. You will be drawing P1, P2 on your own and try to make it similar for all. If it is same, then you can comparatively see how they differ from each other. Is that understood?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Excellent. So we now move on to
So what exactly did you mean by that the demand line will not meet the perfectly inelastic graph?
Say, okay, what you what you do is you take a line, okay? So you take a line. So hello, so you can see this is P0, which is this black line, and P1,
Yes, sir.
which is infinity. So normally when we draw this line and we draw the same line on this other graph also. Okay. So this is P1, P0. So first I draw the P0. Okay. And then I draw the P1 also. Okay. And similarly, I draw this curve. So for the same change P0 to P1 in both cases, what do we find? The change in quantity demanded. What is the quantity demanded here? Change. The change is 0 because they both fall on the same demand line and the quantity demanded in both cases is going to be same. There will be no change. That is the meaning of 0. In this case, what will be the change from P0 to P1? The change will be infinite because we cannot see where these two lines meet. They are parallel to each other. They go and meet somewhere, and that somewhere is known as infinity. Is this clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now it's clear. So there
Excellent.
is one more doubt, sir. In the second graph, the perfectly inelastic graph, sir. If there is a demand line, sir, why don't we have a demand line perpendicular to x-axis? Why always we have a demand line perpendicular to y-axis?
Why
Demand
don't we have a demand line
uh,
perpendicular to?
par- perpendicular to x-axis and parallel to y-axis. Demand line because the x-axis represent the
You,
quantity demanded.
that is already there in perfectly elastic. You will look at it, it is perpendicular to the y-axis, parallel to the x-axis. In this case, it is perpendicular to the x-axis, parallel to the y-axis. Both cases are there. What more do you want?
So, sir, I'm not getting a point. Why are we taking it according to the price? Why are we drawing the green line, what you are showing, with the price relating to price? Why are not? Why we don't draw the green lines relating to the demand line, that is x-axis? Why are we
Good.
taking
Why?
price
Why?
relative?
Because very good question. But that answer is also very simple. Because which is the independent variable and which is the dependent variable you have to recall. And we defined it like that. Price you can change. in the market, if you go, you can change the price. As a result of change in price, something which is dependent on that, which is the quantity demanded, will change on its own. You cannot change the quantity demanded. So when it is the other way around, when the quantity demanded has changed and you want to study this, then it will not be the same thing. It will be different. So you understand, it's a question
Yes,
of which is the dependent variable, which is the independent variable.
yes, sir.
That is
Yes,
why
sir.
we change.
Yes, sir. Actually, I was confused with that because I thought demand is in our control. I can control the demand
No,
part. That's what I
you
was.
cannot control the demand. That
Yes,
is where you have to realize which is in your control.
sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Welcome. So now we move on to our slide. Now, when we look at the price elasticity of demand, you see, now don't ask me from where this definition has come. I've already derived it for you. So it is the same. How we have derived, that is what is being written. So now, when we look at the elasticity of demand, there is a point elasticity. Why we elasticity? Okay. Point elasticity, we are talking about now about price elasticity. In the graph, at every point, the elasticity is going to be different. And therefore, we have this formula, which I have already derived for you, through which we get the elasticity at any point. And if we want to have a linear function, then we have the second formula. This is for the linear function. Okay. Now we'll understand this further. And this is the arc definition. When we look at an arc, it will not always be straight line, a demand curve having a curve. So in the case of curve, this is how we get the price elasticity of demand, where these P1, P2 and Q1, Q2 are 2 points on the curve that we have taken. Okay. Now this is the relationship between marginal revenue and price elasticity of demand. We can derive this also, but I think there is no need. You can simply understand and remember this formula. Now, when we talk about graphically, this is what we generally find. At various points on the demand curve, we said that the elasticity is going to be different. Generally, it is found that the elasticity is greater than 1 above the midpoint. At the midpoint, it is equal to 1, and below the midpoint, less than 1. Marginal revenue is, of course, a point which is a line which is below the demand line. In this case, is denoted by marginal revenue of X product.
Sir, please, I want to
Yeah.
see. I want to see the last slide. Actually, I have missed something.
Okay, here you are. Now this is between marginal revenue, total revenue, and price elasticity. So if elasticity of price is 1, marginal revenue will be 0. If elasticity of price is greater than 1, marginal revenue will also be greater than 0. If elasticity of price is less than 1, marginal revenue will also be less than 1. This is very simple. From the previous graph itself, you can see at the midpoint, it is going to be 0, where EP is equal to 1. If it is lying on this side, it will be greater than 1. If it is lying on this side, it is going to be negative, as marginal revenue is going down towards the negative part of the x-axis. Is this clear? From this, we have derived this. Questions? Now, what are the determinants of price elasticity of demand? If the demand for a commodity will be more price elastic, if it has more close substitute, if it has more narrowly defined, and more time is available for the buyer to adjust to the price change. These are three important determinants of price elasticity of demand. That is, it will become more elasticity if there are substitute goods, or if we are narrowly defining the item, and if you have given ample opportunity to buyers to adjust to the price change. Then on that, if there is no time, it will remain inelastic. If there is time, it will become more elastic. This is the meaning. And these are the determinants. These are the reasons why product will be elastic, less or more. Obviously, the opposite will also be true. If fewer substitutes are available, it will be less. If it is more broadly defined, it will be less elastic. If less time is available, it will be less elastic. People will buy because they have no time to adjust. These are some of the short run and long run price elasticity of demand for selected commodities in the short run and in the long run. Of course, they have taken urban India into consideration, and they have compared it with United States. Yeah, boliye.
I get that the less time is available and there is less elasticity. ये वाला thing.
बहुत सिंपल है, इसको ऐसे समझिए कि I have to buy something. Now there is a change in price, and if I have to buy it only this month only, then I've already spent my budget. I've decided how to spend the money that I've received from my salary, so I cannot do anything about it. So I'll stick with what I did. But in the next month, I may adjust if I get time, I will adjust my budget. I can raise money from some other sources. So that will elasticity. And then I may decide on factors other than income. Here, there is no budget, so there is no decision that I can take. it is out of my hands. Okay.
Yeah, now it's clear. Yes, yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
So in the same line, what we
Mhm.
mean by broadly define and defining something in a narrower way or stricter way?
Okay. Say we are talking about iron. Iron is broadly defined, but we say model T2 of Usha, that is also iron, but that is narrowly defined. So we cannot, as soon as it will be much easier to step out of the Usha T2, then it will be to step out of iron. Because even if the price changes, I will be buying iron only, maybe another iron. If it is broadly defined, it will be more inelastic. If it is narrowly defined, it will be highly elastic. Because I'll quickly change out of one. I may buy an iron of Philip, not Usha. So I have stepped out of it. That is the meaning
Yes.
of broadly defined. Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you. So one more question.
Mm-hmm.
So you were talking about the effect of elasticity or how the
Mm-hmm.
elasticity affect the taxation. So could you please brief that
Mm-hmm.
once again?
That we will be discussing in detail. Don't worry. We'll be
Okay.
discussing that in detail. Okay. So don't worry. But yes, you have to, right now at the moment, you should understand that the quantum of elasticity is very much in the minds of decision makers when they decide to implement the taxes. Okay.
Sure, sir. I will have patience.
Yeah. We will be discussing it in detail. So I think we'll call it a day today, and I'll just take the attendance before we leave. First thing first, I have to close this. Then I have to take the attendance. Yeah, it's been downloaded, and I have to stop the recording.